Well, fishing at night by the village is so peaceful. Everyone is sleeping, nobody is bothering me. It's almost tempting to sneak into one of the houses and try cutting into one of the fresher bodies compared to the dead ones that I keep getting at the morgue. Looks like I got some blood on my shirt. Maybe I'll just try to lick it off, nobody will notice, and what's the worst thing that can happen? Oh, I guess I'm a vampire again. Well, since everyone liked the first video, let's see if I have learned anything and I will be able to get that paper mill and get a wild new set of gear and become even deadlier vampire in the lands of Transylvania. Night 101, coincidentally, the first night was a blood moon, and while most players will spend the night dealing lots of damage, facing a boss, or gathering resources, I got lost for almost half of the night, trying to find my way to a village so I can start gathering the scrolls and potentially unlock the paper press, as from my previous experience I knew I will need better gear to deal with the Spider Queen and the rest of the V-carriers. I eventually managed to end up in the farmlands, killing a lot of soldiers, but eventually, when day 102 arrived, I was stuck in a militia camp, waiting for another night so I can maybe try to get more scrolls and find something that I can suck on that would have a nice 80% concentration of blood. My plan was to use the day to travel to other village, totally backfired when I came across the vampire hunter, who was still upset about me cheesing her fight, and I had to travel across this monstrosity in the map, which I have still zero idea what's it there for in the first place. Night 102. Wow, I actually managed to surprise myself, as I definitely can say that I managed to do more during this night compared to the previous blood moon, as I slaughtered the entire village, and even when the Sun Priestess showed up, she stood no chance. Why did I not use these little sickles before more against the enemy soldiers? They are amazing. Anyhow, I was able to get a lot of scrolls and even books for some things I already unlocked as technology, but I still kept them as I can recycle them and increase the chance of getting what I want. On day 103, I stayed at the militia camp tent, as I might try to steal another horse and go back home. I did manage to do so, and I had to force the horse through this small crevice. Just don't ask how I did it, it was quite graphic. When I arrived back home, I had overall 130 scrolls, and no, I did not get the paper mill, but at least I did get the upgraded iron sickles, so that's at least something. Night 103 was spent by doing inventory at the castle. I looked over how long for my minions to return home from their assignments, and it was still going to be hours before they are going to be back. I was therefore considering going after another V-carrier at the monastery, which meant I will need to craft a holy resistance potion, and I got the upgraded iron sickles. I just was not sure if that would be enough, considering that I know how many religious fanatics are there, and the nuns can heal the units infinitely if too many gather in one place. On night 104, I was back at the Forsaken Cemetery, after which I traveled back to my castle so I can start processing the ingredients for potions. Night 105, I managed to receive a large supply of healing salves, and I made it to the monastery. Problem was with battling the priest that he was using lots of abilities that were slowing me down or getting me stuck in a place, and using the iron sickles, this meant that I had to close in the distance, which was not the best approach to the problem. And unfortunately, he killed me, and I managed to sneak back to the cathedral at top of the monastery, as I will need to try again. On day 106, I took a gamble, as I did not know if the sun coming inside through the glass windows would damage me, but I battled the bastard, and using the scythe, I was able to finally kill him, along with every nun inside of the cathedral. Night 106, I used to gather a large amount of quartz at the monastery, which I followed by gathering few scrolls and killing another lichen, proving once again that Leslie Nielsen is the best vampire. 907, I finished getting the Merciless Holofang armor set by upgrading my gloves, and I was thrilled that the scroll unlocked the Reaper Sight upgrade, as this meant I can focus on the Spider Queen. But I ran into a large problem. My minions were 5 hours away from completing their run in the iron mines, and I had 6 iron ingots left. As I would need iron for maintenance of my gear, I will have to venture into the Forsaken mines myself. 908 was a little confusing to me, as I thought I would be able to run into my minions who were raiding the location for supplies, but I did not see them there. Who I however ran into was the archer and the skeletal commander, and as I joined their argument, I was able to kill both. My minions would be so proud. Day 109 was kind of fun, as I stayed at the mines for so long, almost my entire inventory was iron ore, which is going to make my forges per 4 days. And I knew I was there for too long, as both the skeletal commander and the holy archer spawned in front of me in the same spot, like a minute apart from one another. Now to just get all this back home. I also started to look for a new possible spot for a second castle, as all this traveling is killing way too much time. Problem with the countryside is how heavily populated it is, and I'm not really given that many options to find a decent location. 909 is when I almost could not stop laughing, as I swear you cannot make this shit up. So I was traveling to the cavern to get to my castle, and this small militia party got in my way. My horse got unfortunately hit with an arrow. Normally I'm not a vengeful vampire, but I just killed those idiots and damn nearly started to cry when the crossbowman dropped the paper press machine blueprint. Well, at least I was able to set up 2 in my castle and start making paper, but I was shocked when I saw requirements for schematic blueprint. 910, I tried my luck with the Spider Queen, but there was just too much stuff going on around me, and with her constant summoning of lots of small spiders, and all the area effects and constant pressure, I had absolutely no room for healing myself. I died twice. I will need to switch up my tactic, but I need to kill her for that damn ghost silk, otherwise I cannot get better armor set. 911, I worked on preparation and I got to fight the Spider Queen again with a brand new technique, but I was still making some mistakes, as by the time it was day 112, I was killed by the Queen, but I returned and put a little spin on the technique as I battled the Queen until 912, which is when I was able to defeat her thanks to the guide made by a channel called Alpha Wolf. So if you will be struggling with the boss, look him up. We small channels got to stick together. Trust me, I would not put it up here if it did not work. I then pillaged the Forsaken lands for supplies, as it was day 113 when I was done killing banshees in the village, but there were still plenty of undead waiting. But I managed to clear out the village and gather a nice amount of supplies, which I know I have to painstakingly carry back home. I seriously need a new castle. 913, I had an initial plan to try and reach the place where the Geomancer V-Carrier is located on the map, as I ran out of gem dust. I was not sure if jewelry refining machine was even making any, but what I ended up doing instead was staying at the werewolf village, where one fan after another I proven why Edward is better than Jacob. On 914, I started to process the ghost silk and other supplies, as eventually I made it to the rock pass with the gems, but I guess I have a death wish. As on day 115, I spent it by fighting an iron golem in the dumbest possible place, almost getting killed at the last moment, hitting in the smallest nook with a little bit of shade. 915, I stopped at the village to grab some scrolls in order to save the gem dust, as from now on I will require it in order to maintain my new weapons. Day 116, I started to process the brand new armor set, but unfortunately I was short on scales, so I was not able to complete the full set as I was missing my boots. 916, I went to the cemetery because I did not do enough upkeep during my last 2 videos in the Graveyard Keeper. Seriously, go check it out, the playlist is in the video description. I do need the views. The funniest thing, however, was when I was going back home, I came across a moose with 100% concentrated blood. Night 117, I tried to battle the oversized frog, but it was able to keep swallowing me and spitting me out almost as if it was sampling the chewing gum stock under the school desk. Things did not go well, and I spent the rest of my night working towards the big toad, as I think I will need to wait until the next night to fight it, as there is absolutely zero shadow. Night 118 is a proof that French food is total BS. I did not enjoy my 2 courses of the frog at all. I tried to swallow it, but it kept spitting me out. It was so slimy. I guess I will need to do Uber Eats from some other restaurant. Maybe some doner kebab would hit the spot. But now I'm stuck in the swamp. Night 119, I knew I was not going to make a dent in that frog, and I will need to try somewhere else first. This is the Yogi Bear dilemma all over again. But at least I managed to kill one of those stupid lurkers as a payback before I traveled back to reach the cavern so I can get back home and start processing these resources, as apparently the frogs can have both scales and pristine fur. And people wonder why I no longer want to try Uber Eats recommend section. Night 120 was another blood moon, so I decided to go after a different beef carrier in the same region. God, I need a vacation from this place. Anyhow, I looked up another guide and I totally fudged the whole thing up, as I was meant to get the guy alone, but all sorts of wild animals and undead got involved and I got killed, and because I had more time, I rushed back to the village, as it was day 121 when it killed me again, proving once again I should have waited, but I got mad and rage quit in the middle of it, so I'm missing portion of the footage. Sorry, I'm still just a noob. Night 121, I did something different which I did not do so far when it comes to making 100 days videos. So normally my process is that I record everything, and after that it's days of grinding to edit the footage. I changed that as I recorded the first 20 nights, and I know you don't care that much about my creative process, but it allowed me to look more into some guides, and it paid off as I was able to kill one of the V carriers, yet somehow those stupid wolves still got involved. Oh, and I also read the comments about the mouse sensitivity, but there's no actual way to adjust it in the game besides going into the files themselves and messing with them, so I just left it as is. I'm coming to help! Night 122 made me regret I never had biology class where I can dissect a stupid frog, as I tried twice to battle the Duke of Balaton, but second time it killed me, so I knew I'm screwed. And to put a cherry on top of the cake while trying to get back to retrieve my loot, 3 frogs ganged up on me and killed me as well. Day 123, I snuck back to Duke and killed the 3 stupid frogs, as I had a different target now on my mind that I wanted to kill. Night 123, I traveled to the village of the werewolves, as apparently I made a big mistake during my initial 100 days in V Rising. The chief of the village transforms into a werewolf as well, and if killed in said form, will grant you ultimate ability. I did kill him during the initial 100 days, but it was with a spell from a distance during daytime, and that does not count. So I killed all the werewolves during the night, and I will spend the next day in one of the huts waiting for the next night. Day 124 was problematic as the villagers started to respawn, which could mean trouble, so I was killing them when possible. Night 124, so I tried to battle the werewolf leader, but I kind of panicked when he released hostages to consume during our fight to regain health, as I kept using the spear, which is a great weapon against animals, but really not that great against humans. On top of it, one of the villagers who are werewolves respawned and joined the battle, and because I did not upgrade my crossbow and I saw lots of guides using it, I decided to travel back home, fix my gear, and make some healing potions to help me out, as I still have not even faced one of the bosses in the swamp. Night 125, I was processing the resources and I started to get pissed at some patch or update which totally screwed up my castle, as bushes and other crap was now poking through the floor below. I looked into the map where I wanted to build initially my second castle, but considering that I need 50 paper for basic recipe, 75 scrolls for advanced recipe, and 100 schematics for the most advanced recipe, I will have to set up my second castle between the silver mines and the capital city to harvest both silver and schematics. Night 126, I traveled in wolf form because for some stupid reason, my more stupid minions decided to kill the horse. I don't know why, they just did it. Maybe it's a good thing, as I was able to test out this camouflage form while passing the guards, but now I will need to work on setting up a second castle. Yay! Night 127, I went to the silver mines and I had a little easier time to take out the smaller parties of the enemy soldiers, but when they ganged up on me, I ended up dying. Problem was, I did not have a coffin at my second location, so I had to travel a little further to get there. But I was able to take revenge and start gathering silver, as I had to even use silver resistance potion. Day 128, I continued at the mines by battling more units, and my biggest problem was the cleric class, as these units were able to target allied units and heal them remotely. So I almost died even just because, especially with the stupid silver in my pocket, I was getting weaker. Night 128, I traveled back to my big castle as I needed more supplies to keep building walls and just to finish at least part of my second keep. Who knew I would need so many stone bricks? Thankfully, I had a ton of them back home. I got almost killed by 2 harpies, which made me look forward to fighting a boss, which is like the mother of all the harpies, and I started to smell the dark silver by the time it was day 129. Night 129, I closed off the workshop inside of the castle, reducing the cost of the silver crossbow, which now had the price of 15 dark silver bars. So I was able to craft that along with fixing my gear and getting a better jewelry. I then traveled to the werewolf village where I will try again, as with the new crossbow I had a level of 70 and I need every advantage I can get. During day 130, I eradicated everyone in the village, waiting for the knight to try this crossbow on the chief, as you need to kill him not only because you get ultimate ability, but also because you can craft holy resistance trinket or potion that will allow you to go and deal with another boss in the big cathedral in the capital city near my second castle, so you can start smelting golden bars. Night 130, I battled the werewolf chief and the battle was tough. I have to admit the crossbow was doing wonders, but the problem was when he released the humans and started to eat them, regaining the lost HP. I was not able to kill them fast enough, making me wonder just where the hell did he find these humans. But eventually I kept trying to avoid his attacks as I was almost dead, but I did manage to kill him. The rest of the night I worked on getting to the oversized toad to see if I can skewer it with enough arrows. You know, the worst freaking thing about this is that even if I defeat the frog, I can only transform into a damn frog. That's it. You cannot really use it for anything right now. But I did manage to fish out some rare book out of the swamp at least. Night 131. Payback time, bitch. The battle was tough. I don't know, but compared to the guides I saw on YouTube, it's like slight changes were added to the code of Duke, and its attacks were slightly different, but I was able to get that fucker. I was almost dead, and if I did not have those blood rose potions, I would be dead definitely. But I finally killed the damn thing. And I raided the village of the undead, where I came across a book to unlock an armor piece from the schematics table. Day 132, I wanted to raid another one of the Forsaken villages without triggering the boss there, but as the next night is Blood Moon, I decided to go back home and try to raid the villages for cotton and supplies, as I was not happy with the timing of the Blood Moon this time at all. Night 132. Well, I cannot believe I'm about to put this onto YouTube, but I officially did it. I wasted a blood moon at my base while processing resources and making potions and choosing which supplies to ship to my second castle. God damn it, this will come to bite me in the ass somehow, I just know it. 933, I spent more time at my castle as I wanted to summon the skeletal bishops from the graveyard, as they have a chance to drop Scourgestone, but no such luck. I therefore started to travel towards my new castle, and I promise this video will be fun, eventually, I hope. 934, I wanted to go to the capital to purchase the Highland Lode Seed, which can be done for silver coins, but not really having any experience infiltrating towns in the disguise, when I came across a chest which had schematics in it, I looted it, which apparently destroyed my camouflage, so I had to bail from the city. I tried again, but when I moved too close to a paladin, he saw through my disguise and I had to run away again. Well, at least I killed one paladin outside of the city walls as payback, but this is going to be one annoying visit for a seed, so I can make silk eventually. 935, I snuck into the city finally, but when I found out that I need 200 silver coins for one seed, and I had only 100, I went a little berserk, and I killed a lot of people that night. Soldiers too. At least I got a lot of scrolls out of it, but it was day 136 when I was being chased by way too many units, so I had to bail. 936, I managed to do it. Well, the start of the town was almost like trying to tell me, no, go away. First, a paladin blocked my way. Then one of the bishops. I had to use a holy resistance flask on my way up the stairs, but when another paladin showed up, I had no room to turn around, and so I had to run to the cathedral, as some units followed me inside, lowering my overall HP. But eventually I started to fight the leader of the clergy, and boy was this confusing battle, but thankfully the crossbow was doing the job for me so far, as I was able to kill the leader, and now I can smell golden ingots apparently. Not sure where I can get golden ore, and it would feel kind of stupid to be smelting the golden jewelry, but I need golden ingot for the final upgrade of my vampire castle if all the information on internet can be trusted. 937, I had a plan as I needed to build more crafting workstation, and my old castle was still equipped with lots of ingredients that I will require. So I went to the teleportation location and I managed to get to the frozen place, and I was able to avoid the roaming knucklehead, but I ended up in the cave and I battled another one of the V carriers, as despite my crossbow already suffering reduced efficiency and its durability went down like 400 points, I was still able to defeat the beast just as the day 138 started. Now just to figure out how to get to my old castle during daytime. 939. So I went to the copper mines, as despite my first minion who I ever corrupted was meant to return back to the castle, and I'm not sure if you are really like capable of, let's say, relocating minions from castle A to castle B, but considering I can get even better units there, I did not care. So the plan was that I will require more furnaces for smelting eventually of the dark silver, scorchstone, and other ingredients. So now I will need to go fetch raw copper. I have sent the day before 2 of my minions to raid cemetery for scorchstone, but that will be like 16 real life hours, so I will not see them. At least not in this 100 days video. So after I will bring this to my new castle and set up a couple of furnaces, I will have to go to the Dunley farms for glass, scourgestone myself. Probably scourgestone first so I can make a holy resistance potion and go to the monastery for all the quartz. 940, I finally managed to make it to the second castle as I started to process all these resources, as I was thinking maybe I will go after the elemental mage so I can start making the royal thread. But I was still facing one major problem. Due to the fact that I never researched all the blueprints, I was missing flooring that would give me buffs to my forges and other crafting stations, so I'll need to do that first. 941, I traveled to the elemental mage, but because I'm an idiot, I did not use any potions and I did not pay that much attention to the attacks. I ended up getting killed despite being more than capable of killing her. I had to die so that my video had enough deaths to break some sort of record apparently. And because I still did not make a coffin at my new castle, and there seems to be but only one teleportation location, I had to use that one. Great. 942. So I call BS. I got killed twice. First time, sure, I kept ignoring her clone and that got me killed. But second time, I had her as I spawned a ton of skeletons and she was pressed up against the wall with no health and I shot her with an arrow, but she went into that frozen stasis form, and so I started to use a potion, but during that, the fire orb started to shoot at me and I was not able to interrupt using the potion, which got me killed. I swear this is going to be another place which I will turn into a landfill. 943, I finally managed to kill the fire elemental mage. Man, this took much longer than I wanted it to, but we are getting into territory where if I do not prepare for the next bosses, I'm not sure what exactly to expect. So I tried to return to my new castle, but man, every party of soldiers was craving IKEA meatballs as they kept shooting my horse. That dish is not even that good. I bet I could make it better with some gravy made out of a paladin. 944. It's a proof that I would be a terrible vampire as I'm taking the term undead quite literally. So I wanted to buy the lotus seed, which I did, but running low on blood, I wanted to kill some population and all that jazz. Well, I got killed, and because I still have not installed the stupid coffin at my castle, I had to go back and retrieve everything which I dropped inside of the city. 945. A blood moon. Well spent. Almost. I swear this game is messing with me at this point. So I went to the suburbs of the capital and along the way I came across a soldier with 92% blood. So I took him to my new castle and it turns out I had lack of iron bars to make prison. So I returned to the suburbs and I kept killing a lot of soldiers and I even found a 100% blood villager, but I could not take her in, so that goes out of the window. I will seriously need to go to the farmlands for quartz and iron if I want to get more dark silver and other resources to be processed. 946. I had a plan to venture into the Dunley farmlands, but I got distracted along the way as I started to notice this yellow flower, and holy crap, it's the Highland Lotus. No seed, however. I did venture quite deep into one of the harpies' nests, but I even found one growing in front of the entrance to the silver mines. Fun was when I finally made it to the farmlands to gather some scriptstone so I can make holy resistance potion, but I was not sure if I would travel to my old keep, take the dark silver and other high-end resources from there, and then travel to my new castle. 947, I worked my way through the Dunley farms to the Forsaken Cemetery as I wanted to grab as much supplies so I can bring them to be processed at my new castle. The primary goal why I went back to the old place was because I left dark silver ingots and other ingredients there which I will need in order to fix my gear. On 948, I tried to decide which resources are of strategic importance to be taken to my new castle. So I uprooted a bunch of seeds and I took what I thought were the essentials that I will need in the nearby future, like scrolls, schematics, books, but I still wanted to fetch some more iron and other junk to bring to the new location. Day 149, I was on my way to the new castle when I had to turn back because I realized all those holy resistance potions and silver resistance potions I was making at the alchemy workbench, I forgot. Sometimes I wonder why do I even keep this as part of the video, as nobody would find out if I would not tell anyone. 949. Tonight on BBC, you already watched the guys from Top Gear travel through different parts of the world, driving luxury or not so luxury cars. But tonight, on a special episode, watch as Hammond is bit by a wolf and travels through the whole land of Narnia as a wolf with bunch of silver ore shoved under the hood, as he goes from almost one end of the map to another in one night. Tonight only. 950. So normally I manage to screw up milestones, but I went and fought the harpy nest, and I got to say I really liked my stay there. Mostly because the harpies were dropping gem dust like if it was their dandruff or something. I battled the harpy queen at the top of the hill, and I got to say things were looking rough, but I did manage to do it at the end, barely surviving and killing her. Now I can craft flawless gems, and I need to find a way off this hill. Day 151 proved to be a struggle as I was stuck in a place where I could not pass this long bridge. More units kept coming along and harpies were at my back, so I had to take an entirely different route to my new castle. 951, I tried to get back home, but there were just so many soldiers. By the time I finally got there, I realized I would still need like 450 more paper just to possibly have the remaining recipes done for the basic research table completed, and only after that I wanted to start making dark silver ingots, hoping it would reduce the cost. I would still need to go, however, to the iron mines and to the Dunley Monastery to fetch quartz. 952 was a massacre at Dunley Monastery. I never thought I would appreciate a crossbow so much, but it was able to turn all the religious fanatics into shish kebabs. On top of it, one thing which I love about the monastery is that scourge stone can be found in the coffins. 953. So I managed to make it to the village, and I killed anything that got in my way, as I managed to make it to the top of the hill where they have their own monastery with some quartz. Needless to say, everyone looked like Pinhead from Hellraiser due to all the arrows. Fun thing was how the priestess showed up when I was leaving the church, as she quit chasing me just because I jumped down one cliff. I managed to go back to the monastery as I still had Holy Resistance Potion active, and the fun thing was that the coffins were reset with more loot, so more scourge stone and scrolls for me. I finished the night by killing another fan of Jacob. Why can I do this much during a blood moon? I have no idea. 954. I spent at my castle processing paper and resources as I really wanted to get the forge floors so I can be more efficient while processing quartz and therefore have even more scorch stone. I was now missing one boss in the swamp before I would be able to deal with the vampire roaming them, as I can then start dealing with like the end game stuff, but I knew that without better gear it would be impossible, and I wanted to make smelting of dark silver as efficient as possible. Hence the stubbornness of what I was doing these past few days. 955 was a massacre at Brighthaven, as I wanted to see if I had become stronger and how my gear was dealing with the high-end soldiers even when tough. I have to say using the summoning of skeletons was great, along with the Frost ultimate ability. I was able to make so many units freeze for one photo for vampires to win. I wanted to do this in order to find out how many possible schematics can I get in one night, as I definitely picked up some quality books along the way. 956, I went to the Forsaken Iron Mines, as the plan was that on my way back I will stop at the monastery, grab additional quartz again and head home for massive processing, as I still did not have the smelting floors, but I had like hundreds of planks and I had zero idea what to do with them due to processing so much wood. But as I will need those to be reinforced with iron, one more reason to stop by here, I guess. 957, I waited impatiently at the entry to the monastery, as my days were mostly spent either by traveling or gathering wood so I can make paper, which is why I mostly cover nights in the video, because I'm quite sure nobody wants to watch 15 minutes of me gathering wood. I mean, nobody wants to watch me polish the wood. I mean, nobody is interested in my hard wood, so, yeah. I gathered all the quartz and I went back to my castle as I started to process all the quartz and iron, even without the better floors, as I will need a new smithy and just generally glass and iron to upgrade the heart of the castle so I can expand it even more and make more room for additional workbenches. 958, I went and I started to kill every soldier protecting the silver mines as I wanted to find out what a night of raiding the mines would yield, as I was hoping to come across at least a 100% blood donor who I can capture at my castle. It was difficult, but with the right spells and gear, this could eventually become quite the profitable raiding fleet. Day 159, I worked on getting all the way to the back of the mine so I can see what is all the hype about, as I even came across the golden chest. Problem with silver is that it does not stack up well in your inventory, as you can only have 100 per inventory space, and without silver resistance potion, you would be dead a long time before you can bring it back to the process. 959, I tried to gather more silver as I had 11 full stacks. Problem was, I was not in the mood to fight all the soldiers again, as by the time I was done gathering the silver, every soldier at the entry respawned, so I bailed from the mines and I went to the castle to start processing all this madness. I cannot believe I had to salvage my plantation so I can expand. How many tiles does my castle heart control? I better have not lost my lotus seed. Day 160, I added a large portion of the castle where I will set up workshop to process fabrics and craft new armor eventually as well. God, I love shopping for carpets. I should also consider actually decorating this place this time. 960, I was at my castle still processing everything as I had a lot of things to deal with, as I knew this would happen if I would eventually set up a second place, but it was necessary as it would allow me to eventually start making those fancy dark silver weapons, but I first needed to accumulate all those resources for it so that it can even become possibility. 961, I think Ron Swanson would be happy about how much work with the wood I was doing, but I still did not get access to the floor I needed. I also learned that I will need additional floor, which is the alchemy floor, so I can make potions with reduced amount of ingredients and also process blood more efficiently. But what I at least did is turn one paladin into my servant, or well, I started the process. 962, I decided to travel through the banded lands and gather as much of this stupid paper as I can in order to finish the research and get all this stuff done. Fun thing is, while researching all the stuff, I even came across the fact that there are different blood types. So like villager, soldier, animal, scholar, etc. And apparently each gives different buffs. Did you know about this? Day 163, raiding a bandit camp for paper during daytime is annoying as there is not enough shadow, but I somehow managed to do my best. 963, I continued my way home through the Badlands as I did not really pick up that many pages, but at least I had 6 books which I can scrap into paper, giving me quite the great chance of increasing the possibility of having the research I will require. Most of my inventory was, however, consisting of the gems I brought from the old castle that will be required for the better weapons. On 964, I got really pissed as it was another blood moon that I did spend at my castle, as I did not have enough potions prepared or nothing that would allow me to go face off the witch in the swamp. And if I would want to deal with the roaming vampire as well, guess what? Without those dark silver weapons, I would be screwed as well. And I honestly do not keep in mind when was the last blood moon, but maybe I will have to start because I'm wasting precious time with preparation. 965, I went to battle the witch in the swamp and I did not prepare well enough. I would apparently need more potions to heal, and I think I also screwed up the timing of my ultimate ability. Maybe I should have used it on the mosquitoes to make some space between me and them so that they cannot blow up. I almost had her. I will seriously need to prepare much better for our upcoming battle. 966, I work on getting my final smithing workbench so that I can start to craft those dark silver weapons I will need so desperate now to just craft the research desk for the schematics and get even fancier gear, and we will see who will have the final lap. 967. So due to my new castle's location, I realized I had a big problem. This region really does not give you access to that many blood roses for potions, and due to my lack of access to the correct floors, I still required 80 of them for one potion. This meant that I had to plant my flowers, and I had a plan to originally set up a garden by the pond, by the castle, but the game did not allow me to claim the land, and so instead I expanded my castle even more to the furthest reaches of the cliff, where I set up my new garden. I will just maybe need to bring over the rest of the seeds from my old keep if I want to have a big harvest every few days. 968, I tried to find a good blood donor, but the never-ending parties of Roman soldiers were coming in non-stop, and when the units with their holy power started to move in, things did not go well. So needless to say, I got killed. So I decided to say F this as I teleported myself to the swamp where I wanted to try my chances again with the damn witch. 969, well, I usually don't go for the crazy old chicks. That reminds me of my graveyard for 100 days, but her Tinder profile had some really kinky stuff like that she's 169 years old, which was fun considering on what night this happened, and so I managed to go to her for the worst Tinder date ever. When I first came in, I however got so scared I had to go and kill a spider to get some slimy goo all over my face so I don't see her beauty, as not even putting a paper bag over her face would help me stomach the rest of her. And you all know how stingy I am about paper since I won't shut up about it. But I needed sugar mama so I can keep paying the bills because these two castles I made so far are quite costly, and so with the hint of life I was finally able to sink my teeth into her neck and give her a hickey. Day 170, I tried to get to the other village of the damned for more Scourgestone, but I could not make this up. This has got to be one of the worst Airbnb rated places. I even had a flying show from the mosquitoes as they were flying around in formations trying to suck the blood of a bloodsucker. 970, I wanted to go to my newly rented Airbnb, and I got to say this place isn't totally dumb. Also, considering the silver coins I will have to pay for this place, I'm not even sure it's worth it. On top of it, the owner showed up and started yelling at me that he did not have time to vacuum yet, so I had to leave. Problem was, I was still exhausted from the night before as I had to do all that rusting with my spear, and so after he finally left, I returned and eventually ventured out of this place. Seriously, worst tourist attraction yet. I don't care if they shot Twilight movies in here due to all the fog, I am not coming back anytime soon. 971, I snuck past the priestess on top of the cemetery to steal stuff from her chest, because unless you aggro her, she will keep doing her thing. I then went through the Dunley farmlands into one of the villages where I killed few nuns and took the quartz, and even went to the monastery without the resistance potions, as sure you will take some damage, but you can manage to actually do this successfully, especially if you don't fight anyone. I then ran into another Jacob fan, and I really was not in the mood to argue with him about how Hugh Jackman in Van Helsing is one of the best designs for werewolves. I'm just now starting to wonder what is up with Kate Winslet's obsession about movies where she deals with Lycan. Guess she's really into hairy guys maybe. 972. So my original plan was to use all the Scourgestone I was able to acquire to make dark silver ingots, but instead I decided to build a research desk, and thanks to having all those schematics I have been collecting, I was able to get 2 pieces of the best armor in the game. I thankfully had enough silkworms to make silk I needed to start the work on crafting, while I also started to open a jumbo juice as I had all this blood I will need to process into primal essence somehow. I will still need to also gather more supplies to craft better weapons so I can deal with the Airbnb owner, so I can take on the bat form and see if I can reach at least one of the 3 final bosses. 973, I obtained my first piece of the final armor, and I did some more micromanagement and reallocation of resources as I knew I would have to go to the swamp to fetch me some silkworms so I can make even more of this damn fabric. 974, I did something I never have done before. I went through the entire spider cave, killing every spider including the spider queen herself. Don't even get me started on that, as I came across a haul of over 50 silkworms. The great thing was that by the time I was done, I jumped down from the cave to the lower place, and the spiders and cocoons did reset themselves. So I guess I will stay a little longer. 975, I did it all over again, killing the queen and all the cocoons around her, collecting a large volume of silkworms. Now I knew that I will need some of them for the full set of armor, but I was also trying to think about the maintenance of the gear, which will most likely need silk too, as the royal fabric I was able to mostly get from the fallen soldiers. I raided also the Forsaken village, now again traveling back home. Problem was, I came across maybe like only one scourge stone, which was not really that good. 976 was a trip through the Dunley farmlands as I went to the cemetery, and this time I did manage to aggro the priestess at the top. I guess I would be mad if I would try to cast some incantation and someone would be boning at the cemetery next to me. Wait, what? So anyhow, I managed to get home and finally make 6th furnace for smelting, as I will need to start processing all of this. 977, I worked on getting my dark silver sight and my leggings came out great. Finally clothes that are not pink. Seriously, I have zero idea what Adidas was thinking when they suggested I wear this pink set with the juicy written on my ass. 978, so, what? How and why did I die? I have zero idea, but I finally managed to at least get the human from the city with 91% blood and imprison him until I killed him, as apparently me lowering his health to the point of death was not the smartest choice. But I will need to raid the capital for a lot of schematics. 979. Yeah, another weird night. So it started great because I got my sanguine blades. Yay! But when I went to the city and I started to battle the first 2 guards by the gate, they both started to show that they will give me 100% blood concentration, which I have never seen before. Even weirder thing was, however, as suddenly this black thing started to cover up the screen and I had to leave the game and respawn into it. Well, I was able to at least enslave one of the soldiers, but still, if I will drain him just once, I'm quite sure it will kill him. Damn it! 980. I kept raiding the capital. I wanted to see how the slashers were performing, and I got to say they had much better performance in the farmlands. So I'll need more schematics for either upgrade of my weapons, or I will just need to try different weapons so that I can find out which one will be most suitable for the roaming vampire, as he will be quite the pickle to deal with. 981 was another blood moon, and I thought to myself, great, I have the necessary time I need to stalk the stupid roaming vampire in order to kill him. Unfortunately, I spent most of the blood moon by stalking him, looking for opportunities and areas where to battle him, but unfortunately without the sanguine upgrades on my weapons, it was just not going well. I ended up dying twice, and so I knew I would need Scourge Stone to get more dark silver in order to upgrade my tools. Considering how horrible of a luck I was having in general with the RNG Jesus from Paper and Scroll, the odds were unfortunately highly stacked against me. Day 182, I ran into a problem as the Forsaken village has changed somehow. The drops were getting worse and worse with each subsequent visit. At first, I left with 5 Scourge Stone, but now just getting bone dust was a problem on its own. 982 was a long road back home. As I went through the cemetery, I had to battle with all the skeletons once again, and I came across 2 Scourge Stone, and inside of the golden chest, I found a brand new cape. It had the same exact stats as the one I had from Beatrice, but it looked cooler. Along the way, I came across a merchant, and I wanted to see if I can buy something, but a fan of Jacob interrupted the session, and so I had to kill them both. I swear to God, these things are getting annoying. I managed to reach my castle just as the next day was about to start. 983, I went to raid the city for schematics, and I loved one house especially by the entrance, as it has like 5 storage points and I always found some goodies inside. Problem was, I had only 20 something schematics and 17 scrolls at the end of the night and no books, and this would mean I would need to raid the town 4 more times in order to get 1 blueprint researched. On night 184, I wanted a change of scenery, so I decided to go to the Harpy's Nest, as I was wondering if I will actually gather one of the lotus seeds. But that did not happen. Now the fun thing was that while I kept killing all the humans that were in my way to the Harpy's Nest, I actually came across as many schematics as I came across the previous night while I raided the city, making me wonder what is the best place to do this in general. But I knew I would have to go to the cemetery again in order to get the grave dust in large number and make a lot of scourge stone, as my dark silver processing was at the plate tectonic speed. Night 185, I teleported myself to the old castle and I took like 1000 bones from the storage along with few more things as I ventured to the cemetery, and I was a little disappointed as I left with only 11 bone dust. So I tried to at least mine the gemstones on the way through these lands, as I still needed 1 refined amethyst for the best jewelry to increase my spell power. 986, I went to the silver mines, as despite me being able to produce 1 dark silver ingot every few days, my supply started to run out, so I fetched like 330 silver. So when I finally make some scourge stone, I will not have another bottleneck, like the lack of glass I have now. Wait, what? 987. So I took my new dark silver sword to test it out at the city, and I got to say it worked quite well, but I hate the light weavers in general. I managed to get to the docks where I came across a book for the exquisite carpets. Great, maybe I can beat that roaming vampire with my vast selection of IKEA furniture. Actually, I bet if I would make him roam around in IKEA store, he would get lost. I bet that would weaken him enough for me to take him out of his misery. 988. So since I had the new Nightstone of the Beast, which by the way sounds like a cool name for a band, I decided to go to the Forsaken Woods and look for this vampire, without marking him on the blood altar. So most of you can imagine that I spent majority of the night fighting animals and looking for him, and by the time I finally managed to find him by a small clearing which had no enemies in it, of course I could not fight him now. I sometimes wonder, why do I do dumb shit like this? Day 189. So I was following the vampire through the Forsaken Woods, trying to find some good place to try and battle him. And I got to say, this is some proper BS. How come he can walk into the sunlight and nothing happens, yet if I step into the sunlight, it's like someone brought the Euclid's Sea Finder from New Vegas and is about to deep fry me. I bet it's that fancy cloak of his. Or maybe he found out how to make a suntan lotion out of bones. 989. So what the fuck just happened? Okay, so I guess you all need some context, so here goes. I found a great spot where I wanted to battle the roaming vampire, and things were going well, but I guess he somehow just got all buggy and just started standing still. Like if he was thinking, what to have for lunch?
Anyway, I started blasting. Bah! Bah!
And he died. And it felt wrong. Like, if I have not earned it. I knew the fight was going to be tough, but what the hell, game? On top of it, I once again got that weird issue with the black screen. This just does not feel right. It's almost like using cheat codes, but I'm not going to fight him again. Screw that, I got only 10 days left. 990. So, is the game messing with me for some reason? Or maybe it's because I have not played it for a while, so it seems like the nights are longer. I managed to go through almost 2 of the villages in Dunley farmlands in one night. One night. Kill everyone in one village, gather the resources, move to the second village, and repeat. Well, I did not manage to go all the way to the top where they have their little church with all the quartz I need, but still, god damn! And it's not even a blood moon. Why can't I be this productive during those? Day 191. So I went to the church on the hill and the stupid sun priestess was there and she had all those nuns constantly healing her and it was just a total nightmare. Despite my ultimate ability almost eliminating originally 60% of her health, she was able to regain it all, and somehow in all that mess I did not die shockingly. This new armor set is totally bitchin'! Night 191, I traveled back home and I started to change few things around my castle as I wanted to make more forges so I can process both the quartz, iron and whatever else I might require at the same time. Got kind of mad that for 100 schematics I got some decoration piece, but those are the odds I'm put against. I guess I will have to try going against one of those 3 big bosses once I construct the Eye of Sauron, or what is the quest that is in my upper left corner for the past 150 days night cycles, as I will be able to go up against at least one of them. Fingers crossed. Night 192, I found out I needed more gold bars, so I went to raid the town. Again, this black screen thing. Someone has to let me know if this keeps happening to you as well, or maybe it's just me because I keep jumping in and out of the game all the time. Day 193, I started to kill a bunch of clergy members like paladins and those priests as they usually dropped golden jewelry, as I needed 6 of them just for 1 gold bar, and I had to craft 3 of them, and therefore the upcoming blood moon will have to be extra productive or I am screwed. Night 193, well, for the last blood moon I got to say it lived up to the name as the streets were filled with blood. Literally those drops of blood with random quantity were all over the ground. I guess it's because I so much enjoyed running into crowds of peasants and using the scythe. Almost reminded me of how I never took the harvester in GTA San Andreas and went with it through the streets of Las Venturas. Man, that was one hell of a way of efficiently harvesting blood. I mean, I wouldn't know. Night 194, I crafted the throne and the eye, which allowed me to see the 3 locations where the 3 big beasts are located. I also started to craft the sanguine axes so I can gather wood like no other vampire, and now I need to look up some guides on how to deal with these monsters. So by the day 195, I knew I would not be able to battle all 3 of the big bosses, so I wanted to focus on taking out at least one. If I can get one, I will be happy. But guess what? I ran into a big problem as all these battles took down the weapon's durability and I did not have enough to fix my crossbow. Now what am I going to do? Night 195, I used the bat form to see how fast I can travel, and I got to say it's nice speed, but probably combining it with the teleportation is much better. I have to give also a thumbs up to the developers as I even flew over parts of the map you cannot really access, and they actually generated textures for it like hills, lakes, so it's not just black screen or you being turned back into the map. The funniest thing was, however, as I gathered 7 scourge stone inside of the cemetery, where were these abundant drops before I came here, huh? During night 196, I was able to fix my gear with the newly crafted dark silver, so my crossbow is now good to go. I also finally got the alchemy floors for doing a research, as I cannot believe I have everything with scrolls, but I'm still missing some paper research. I went to the city for schematics, and well, hopefully things are going to go well. Night 197 is a proof that I need longer night and a bloody higher damage output. So my problem was not that I was not able to manage the combat or dodge the attacks. I was actually doing quite well in that department. The goddamn problem was the stupid damage I was outputting, as the beast was 2 levels higher, and so when the day 198 arrived, I tried to find some stupid shade, but there was just none. And so I got deep fried by the stupid sun, because when I killed the bugged out vampire immune to sunlight, I forgot to take his cloak. Problem is now, I don't have 100% blood, so I might have to try and fight another one of these beasts, as I think it's inside of the cave, I hope. I knew spending those blood moons in my castle is going to bite me in the ass eventually. Night 198, I went to the city for final schematics run, as I was hoping that maybe I get so lucky by researching them that I either get like sanguine scythe upgrade or final piece of the armor. I was able to get a lot of scrolls and the other goods, so hopefully I will be able to face off the other monster. I just need some better blood now. Day 199. So I guess I have to be some special category of stupid because my luck paid out. I researched the schematics and voila! Sanguine crossbow blueprint. God damn it, I cannot make this stuff up. Now I'm screwed, however, as I do not have 3 primal blood. God damn it! 999, I went to the city for more blood so I can make primal blood essence for the upgrade, as I would at least be able to deal some damage to the beast that way. So when the final night 200 arrived, I was standing by the entrance to the cave of the beast, and I tried to battle it, but again there must have been some changes made to the game or the types of the attacks, as the way the beast was behaving was different than you could find on guides currently on YouTube. So unfortunately, first time I died, but because I'm stubborn, I decided to try again. Things were going great until the day 201 was here, which is when I decided to quit. Nah, I'm just fucking with you, but unfortunately I did get killed. I would just need more preparation and more potions to enhance my powers. So yeah, that's going to be it for the second video for the V Rising. On one hand, I'm kind of sad I did not manage to take out at least one of the 3 final bosses, but on the other hand, I'm still pretty damn excited about the paper press and of course the sanguine crossbow. I mean, come on, what are the odds? I know that the developers have announced the Womb Rod update for the month of May, but I'm not sure if they will truly delete everyone's data, so yeah. Also, I need to inform you that as I'm not making any money of YouTube and I have a day job, chances of me making another 100 days video in the nearby future is less likely. So if you like what I do here, please still consider subscribing, as I'm thankful to all of you and I hope your gaming experience is going far better than my Twilight fan novel. I mean my gaming and script writing. Phew. I would also like to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for watching and for helping me reach 8,000 views on the first video. And I will be looking forward to your critique of my lack of skill, and hopefully you might consider what other gems are hidden on my channel.